All right, what up, YouTube? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Molly G, back at y'all on another episode of Running With You. And tonight I want to run it with y'all about just basic, you know, relationship, societal norms. Is dating rigged? Is it all a scam? Is it worth it? Is it still good people out here? Should you take the risk? Is it best to just stay single? We've all heard these things. If you're on the internet, depending on how your algorithm is, you're gonna hear these things a lot. Depending on what influencers you follow, depending on what podcast you listen to, it is gonna get rammed in your head a lot over and over and over again. You're gonna be listening to a lot of Reddit, you're gonna be listening to a lot of persons' opinions, you're gonna be listening to a lot of people who have, inflated expectations. You're gonna be listening to a lot of people who their reality is their norm. Their perception of their norm is their reality, and they're going to see things that different than you. What might be uh, foreign to you is their reality. What might be foreign to them might be your reality. And all I could say is, I don't believe that you should just stay single. I honestly believe it's somebody good enough for everybody. You're not going to find the perfect relationship, but you can find something that is good enough that as long as y'all can compromise on things and as long as y'all can grow, you can have a decent, good relationship. You're going to have to compromise on things. Is dating rigged? I don't think it's rigged. I think people need to have more discernment. I think people need to have more date. First of all, before you date, you need to just know that you're going into this competing with others. First of all, if you are a woman and you want a high uh if you want high standards and you're gonna need your guy to have this and this and that, you're gonna have to bring something that'll make him choose you out of all the women that he's gonna have. Because if he's gonna be, you know, worthy enough for you, you got to understand he gonna be worthy enough for a lot of other women. So what they call it, bring it to the table. You're gonna have to bring peace to him. You're gonna have to bring in something that you can fit into his life that could be convenience to him. You're gonna have to keep yourself up for him. You're gonna have to motivate him. You're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z to be a good partner, period. And as far as the man, you're gonna have to get you a woman that you can't get a woman that's gonna let society dictate what her mind is. You can't get a woman that's gonna be so caught up on social media. I read a post. I might do a video on this. It said, unpopular opinion: what social media has done to women is 10 times worse what porn has done to men. And I might gotta agree with that. I think the porn addiction with men, I think it takes its toll and it has a lot of incels in this world. And I think what social media has done to women, because you got to think about it, a lot of men are addicted to porn, but it's only it's a big number, but it's kind of have a cap on it to where social media, damn near every woman got social media in some way, somehow. For the most part, it can shape one's uh standards. It can shapes one's perceptions and expectations. You know what I'm saying? And it can have you comparing. Even if you're a good girl, you might compare what your boyfriend is doing with you at the current moment compared to what someone else's boyfriend is doing to them at the current moment. And if you're viewing this day in and day out, and you start hearing stuff like, oh, if he can, he would. and it'll be some crazy thing, that she's viewing that a man that is doing for her that's in a whole different position than her man is in, you know. So I think, man, you just gotta find you someone who not getting caught all up into that. Don't try to change them. Like, find someone like, and when I say don't try to change them, for example, if she likes to go out a lot, if she likes to club a lot, don't try to wife her up and then try to change her and start making her do that. Just have good discernment and say this is probably not the person for you. It'll be best to just get a girl that's not even into clubbing. It'll be best to get a girl that's you know probably went out a few times, but she just knows that that's not her thing. Like me personally, I like to travel and I like to go out when I travel. So as far as me going out now, 9 times out of 10, if I'm in a club, I'm in a different country. Because I like to do 5 things when I travel. I like to go experience the nightlife, go experience the culture, go experience the food, go do at least one activity, and experience they women. Like I like to see different cultures. Women and how they operate, how they move, how they think. Um, but one thing about it, um, I ain't gonna fall into this whole notion of just being single forever. I ain't about to fall into this whole rhetoric of dating is a scam. I think dating, I do believe it has changed since back then. It is without a doubt has changed. Plus, the economy has changed. But I think it always been cheaters. I think it always been liars. I think it always been narcissists. I think it always been women who self-centered. I think it's always been women who are have an inflated sense of ego. I think it's always been women uh who take hypergamy to the next level. Like it all these things has always been around. Social media just exacerbated it. It did it times 10, if you will. So but at the same time, even back in the day, you had to put in work for yourself to find a good person. And I honestly think that sometimes you could get lucky, but most times you got to put yourself in position to meet that right person. If you're a man, I think it is best to work on yourself, uh eat right, gym, have motivation and goals, set them, take action and apply that to work towards those goals, to be better mentally, to be better physically, to be better financially. Woman, same thing. Work out, uh, learn to operate in your femininity, like, which is crazy because now women have to learn that instead of just being that off rip. Uh, Learn on how to communicate with men and how to just, uh, I ain't gonna say shut the fuck up, but you know, I think when it comes to men, I think a lot of men love language is, respect. I think a lot of men love language is peace. I think a lot of men love language is clear communication. I think if a woman could just do those simple basic things, she can find her a decent man. You know, you can find somebody out here if you work on yourself and be attractive. You know, you catch a lot of more bees with honey than vinegar. And a lot of y'all are walking around with vinegar thinking y'all just going to catch some honeybee, and that's not the case. And a lot of women, they get enabled by other women with bad behavior. A lot of men, they miss one bus, next one coming mentality. Oh, well, it's on to the next one. Your social circle will help you find a good woman. Your personality will help you find a good woman. Working on yourself, something good will happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people they got lucky and found a good man. They got lucky and found a good woman and actually fumbled them. A lot of people talk about, oh, I got fumbled, oh, he fumbled me. Nah, man. A lot of people not fumbling y'all. Y'all some piece of shit people. Y'all some terrible people. People not fumbling y'all. If anything, they better off without you. But it's some rare occasions where some people actually did get fumbled. This woman out here who fumbled a good providing man that was able to provide for them, respect them, be uh, security for them. All the good traits, but couldn't be his peace. Always nagging, always complaining, always wanted this, always wanted that. Fumbled a good man. Time went by, they broke up, man got married. And it's the other way too. Some men, perpetual cheaters. Had a good girl, went to school, came home, catered to the man, cooked, cleaned, brought peace, gave motivation, couldn't stop cheating. Not me personally. Some people might say, well, if the man got enough money, you shouldn't really be caring about him cheating. But then you got to think about that. If you had a daughter, would you want your daughter being with a guy that's just constantly cheating on her just for the sake of he got money and he's a provider? Would you want your daughter to be okay with him sleeping around with X, Y, and Z? Whether it's with a condom or not, and that's just a gamble that she got to take because she got a provider, and God forbid he come back and give her something. And some people might think, oh, well, it's not that common. That won't happen. You could leave him and still get with another cheater anyway. I mean, all that's fine and dandy to say until it actually happens. Because the men who say, oh, well, you need to mess with this guy because he got a lot of money, he's a provider, but you need to also let him go ahead on and do what he want to do, because if you leave him, another man gonna do the same thing, and another man probably ain't gonna have as much money as him. To say that is to say, if you have a daughter and that happened to your daughter, you wouldn't feel no type of way about the man that did that to your daughter and gave her something just because he had a right and a past to cheat because he's a big provider. But I want to know what y'all think down in the comment section. Is dating rigged? Is it best to stay single? I want to know from the people who are single and been single for a long time. I want to know for the people who probably just got their heart broken. I want to know, no matter what stage you in, because you probably got a different viewpoint. If you've been single for a long time, you're probably stagnant. If you've been single for a long time, you're probably lonely. If you just got your heart broken, you probably say, man, I got to be single. I'm never dating again. And if you've been single for 5 years plus, it's hard to get with somebody because you've been so much in your comfort zone, in your bubble, that any inconvenience that somebody gives you when y'all dating, you just going to go right back to your comfort zone. And be single. And that's the hard thing about dating someone that's been single a long time. So when you first meet somebody, it's best to ask them how long they've been single. And then you got to think, 5 years plus, you that much of not of a catch. Somebody would have tried to lock you down. And if nobody's able to lock you down, you either attracting the wrong person or you got something wrong with you. If y'all like the content, go ahead on and hit the like button. Go ahead on and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Go ahead on and send me something that you'll like for me to react to. NoCapNoFilter7@gmail.com. Go ahead on and send me anything that you would like for me to speak on. NoCapNoFilter7@gmail.com. Until next time, I'm out.